From the KLIF Newsroom.
KLIF News and Information in the morning.
With Dave Williams and Amy Shadra.
Good morning. It is 6:01. We're going to break a little early from the network because we do have a police training expert on the line with us this morning in reaction to the ambush last night of the Dallas police officers, and we thought it was really important to get you this information. He's on a tight schedule. Dr. Alex Del Carmen joins us now on the line. Good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
What went through your mind this morning last night when you heard the news about this terrible, terrible tragedy?
You know, it's a tragedy, and it's a massacre on the individuals that were out there protecting citizens' rights to protest. So it is sad all around. It is of historical proportion.
Doctor, we were commenting just a few minutes ago that one of the things that I think is very, very encouraging and a reason for great pride for people in this region is that the way the police officers reacted when the shooting began seems to us to have been just exemplary. They were under fire. They were being attacked in what amounted to a military-style assault, and yet their reactions, that those who were not trying to stop the fire, was to continue to protect the demonstrators and to try to get them to move to safety and to shield them. And I think it's I just think that the police department in Dallas needs to have all the praise in the world. And as a police training expert, I'm asking, would you agree with me?
There's no question, and you know, we've seen so much negative coverage of police officers in the past few days and weeks that we forget the fact that most police officers are noble, decent, hardworking individuals, and at the end of the day, they're trained to neutralize a threat and to protect human life, and that's exactly what they did yesterday. You know, those individuals that were under fire, they threw themselves in front of a bullet to protect so many people that were exercising their right to protest. And so at the end of the day, although a tragedy, we do see those encouraging actions on behalf of law enforcement that reminds us all the price that they pay to do the work that they do.
I guess it's just like any other profession where there are a couple of bad apples in every barrel.
That's exactly right. You know, in fact, I was giving an interview yesterday prior to this event, and they were asking me and trying to sort of throw a blanket around all law enforcement. And as I've indicated in the past, you know, most law enforcement officers in the United States are decent, hardworking people that get up every morning to try to do a good job and protect the citizens of their community. Unfortunately, we have people in law enforcement, as we do in every other entity, that should have never been police officers. And, you know, and sadly, everyone else begins to generalize the behavior of two or three and throw that statement around as if every police officer would be in that category.
When you see these occurrences in other places, in Baton Rouge and in Minnesota and the other cases that we've seen in the last couple of years, do you consider the problem to be in the screening process of police candidates or in the training, or is it a combination of the two?
You know, it's a combination of the two, but I absolutely believe that the screening process is crucial. And at the end of the day, when you have a police officer that engages in corruption or aims at an innocent person and kills him, at the end of the day, this is a matter of recruitment. The recruiter and the individuals that brought that individual forward as a candidate and the process itself failed, and therefore allowed for someone that should have never been a police officer to wear a badge and a gun. And so you're exactly right. This is a matter of recruitment and the process of hiring that person, as well as it is a matter of training.
So does something in training need to be changed, the way the police officers are being trained?
I think so, but more so than that is the idea of making sure that the process is rigorous, in which they actually bring in a police officer. Currently, we do have very, rigorous check marks across the United States, where we look at an individual's background, we conduct psychological tests, we put them through a physical training component. But at the same time, a lot of police departments across the U.S. have really loosened their requirements for the sake of bringing more people in. Folks are turning away from law enforcement, and in fact, they call it the Ferguson effect, where people are just no longer attracted to being police officers. And so as a result of that, they've really loosened a lot of their requirements. And so I think that's a big mistake, because we're bringing people in that should have never been police officers.
Yeah, Dr. Del Carmen, we know that you have to go. I have very quickly one real quick question, and you don't have to expand on this a great deal unless you prefer to. But I'm wondering, do most police departments have a probationary period for new officers that are put on the streets? They put them out there with veterans and under certain guidelines.
Absolutely. And so what happens across the U.S. for the most part is they're brought into the police academy 6 to 8 months, and then after that they go through what's called the FTO training, which is the field training officer. That is an individual, a senior officer that actually rides along with the junior officer for 2 or 3 months, evaluates that individual on a weekly basis, and then upon that probationary period, the officer is then fully vested as a police officer and goes out to the streets to do his or her job. So it is a 9-month process on the average before they're actually let loose on their own to do the work that they do. So it is rigorous. It is filled with experience and with a lot of advice and mentoring, but that doesn't negate the possibility that from time to time we have the wrong person coming into the police department.
How hard is it going to be for the Dallas Police Department to recover from this terrible tragedy?
I don't think police departments, and I personally have lost 2 of my former students in the line of duty, and I can tell you personally that you never recover from that. It's a loss of life, someone wearing a uniform that takes a bullet for on behalf of the citizen that they're trying to protect. I mean, these are folks that work with these victims, now heroes, police officers that have died in the line of duty. These police officers in Dallas, it's a very, very close-knit community. These folks are, in and out on a daily basis. These are the best men at their weddings. The sister, that went shopping last weekend with a fellow police officer. I mean, this is a family. This is a family that has been torn, and they will never recover. In fact, what we never see in the media is that as a result of these events, you have police officers that end up retiring because the trauma is so acute that they just cannot go back to work, period. So, this is of historical proportion as well. And this is going to have a wound in the community for a very long time.
All right, Dr. Alex Del Carmen, thank you so much for your expertise. A very difficult subject to talk about this morning for any former police officer. Dr. Del Carmen, police training expert and professor now at Fort Worth Tarleton State University.
He was really terrific, too. 6:09 at KLIF. We're behind schedule. We apologize for that. Let's check traffic for you right now. And here's Bill Jackson.